Hello, Big Queens. Welcome to another interesting training session. This is one of those events we hold every week where we share with you knowledge, tools, information, insights about blockchain technology and all the opportunities that are available and how you can leverage it. Welcome, ladies, to another episode. You're welcome, Karo. You're welcome, Oge. You're welcome, Ruka. Welcome, Laura. Thank you, everyone, for always making out your time to be here. It's a beautiful Sunday. It's past 8 p.m. West African time here from my own time zone. And I'm happy we're able to join from different parts of the world. And like we've already mentioned, our topic will be on future trends and innovations in tokenization. We've been on this journey for the past 8 weeks, and we've been talking tokenization. And today we want to look at what the future holds for tokenization and for those who are participating in that space. What should you expect in the coming years and decades? So that's what we're going to be discussing. And this is really very important because staying ahead of the curve helps you make informed decisions. So you are preparing yourself ahead of time of what's going to happen, and then you can learn more about it, position yourself, and take advantage. So welcome, ladies. Without wasting any more time, I will go pull up my screen so that we get started with today's conversation. Right. So please leave me some feedback. If you can hear me, if you can see my screen, please do let me know before we proceed. Thank you, Oge. Yes, good evening. She says, yes, I can hear you. Thank you, Carol, for your feedback. Thank you so very much. So with that said, let's get right into our conversation. So we're talking about tokenization of real-world assets, and we're looking at where the world is headed when it comes to tokenization. Now, we've splitted this conversation in two because it's going to be an elaborate one. So we're going to be having the second part in our coming session. But today we want to look at a number of trends to look out for in the tokenization space. So if you're meeting me for the first time or just joining our conversation for the first time, I'm Christy Emmanuel. I'm a blockchain educator for women and the founder of Big. My team and I formed Big Queens to create an opportunity for women to learn about blockchain technology, about cryptocurrencies, about Web3, and how women can empower themselves with it. We understand that tech is male-dominated and is not supposed to be. The technology itself is a decentralized one, meaning that it's giving a level playing field for both men and women to take advantage. And we realize that this is not the time for women to be on the sidelines, but this is the time for them to be at the forefront of conversations around blockchain technology and, of course, forming narratives of what women participation in the blockchain space should be. And that's how we came up with Big Queens community, where you get to feel supported, you feel confident, you learn with other women, you share ideas, you meet other women who have been in the space, that you learn of their stories, and of course, you become excited to begin to explore all the opportunities that are available within this space. So if you're not already part of our community, please feel free to leave us a message in the chat, or if you're watching us from any of our channels, that's social media platforms, please feel free to leave us a message or leave us a DM. We'll definitely get back to you on how to bring you in to our community. In our community, we are open to women from different backgrounds, from different parts of the world. So it's an all-encompassing and inclusive community. So feel free to be part of what we are doing in the Big Queens community. So what are we going to be learning today? We're going to be looking at the current state of tokenization, what tokenization is doing, how it is disrupting participation in the ownership of real-world assets, and of course, we're going to look at future trends, what we should look out for when it comes to tokenization of real-world assets. And at the end, we're going to interact. So at this point, if you have any questions, you have any thoughts, you have any experiences you want to share, that will be the time to do so. But while we're on it, if you have any questions or anything that you feel cannot wait, please feel free to leave them in the chat. And at this point in time, I will encourage you to have your journals, your screenshot application, anything that allows you to capture your thoughts while we're on this presentation will be needed at this point in time, because it promises to be very insightful, informative, educative, and empowering. So you're welcome once again, ladies. Let's dive right in. What's the current state of tokenization? Just like we've been describing, tokenization is democratizing or decentralizing, if you will, the ownership of real-world assets. So tokenization is giving us the opportunity to own part of a real world asset or ownership right of a real world asset. Because in the traditional world, it's usually not easy for women to own real world assets, like be a real estate mogul, or maybe have a big precious metal company, or big time company owner for luxury cars and things like that. So we understand that tokenization makes it possible because it brings accessibility, it brings flexibility, it allows women to track their participation in ownership of any asset. And of course, it's transparent because it's on the blockchain, and it allows women to belong to communities where they can learn of smart decision-making strategies and of course take advantage. So we see that tokenization has gone beyond just real estate. Like most people will think, we're talking of tokenization of art, tokenization of anything that has value, as it were, can be tokenized. We're talking about tokenization of precious metals, intellectual property like music, art, movies, books, patents, aircraft, airports, all these are assets that actually can be tokenized. Why it's important for us to pay attention is because we are bringing real world businesses onto the blockchain, real world assets onto the blockchain. You're not just talking about tokens that are created that are not being backed by anything whatsoever. We're talking about changing the ownership of a physical asset and bringing it onto the blockchain so that whatever you own, which is tokens that represent your own participation, is within your control. And so you can have access to trade them, to sell, to buy, to manage, to transfer. So it brings a lot of flexibility and options for women to participate in the digital economy. So it's no longer a situation where women can say, oh, I don't have all the money to play in real estate. I don't have all the money to be part owner of an aircraft or an aviation company, for instance. The opportunity to participate in any real world asset of your choice is now available. And that brings a lot of, like I said, flexibility, financial inclusion for women, economic empowerment, and all that. So that's the current situation of tokenization of real world assets. There are a lot of things that can be tokenized. We've discussed in the past, career opportunities that women can even leverage. So if you missed any of those conversations, please go to our YouTube channel to access the full presentations we've had in the past regarding the different areas that women can take advantage of when it comes to tokenization of real world assets. So with that said, let's focus on why we are here today, which is the future trends and innovation in tokenization. As we've mentioned previously in our training sessions, tokenization is still evolving based on innovations that have been emanating from that space. Today, we're going to be looking at what to expect in the coming years and decades in the tokenization space. I tell you what, there's a lot of opportunities here, and women can simply position themselves, learn more about these trends and innovations, and participate in what's happening in this space. Of course, women can tokenize their business, the opportunity also exists. So just count that as part of the future trends, that in the future, you also can tokenize your business, whether you are in the fashion industry, beauty and aesthetics industry, supply chain, or whatever it is. The opportunity is there for women to also tokenize. So women cannot just be only investors, they can actually bring their own assets onto the blockchain. Maybe you have a piece of real estate somewhere, or you have a land somewhere, you can actually bring it and tokenize it. So there's a lot of opportunities for women, and we couldn't be more excited to share all that's going to be happening with you. So the first we're going to be looking at is mass adoption of digital assets. People hold more of fiat currencies and of course, physical assets, as it were, but with the continuous innovation in the tokenization space, there will be mass adoption of digital assets. People can now begin to see, oh, I can hold assets, not just physical assets. There is opportunity for me to hold digital assets like cryptocurrencies and tokens. And so the more people talk about tokenization and the fact that you can actually convert a real asset a physical asset into a digital asset, then it gives them the opportunity to learn more about cryptocurrencies, to even learn more about blockchain. I know some women, I think I've interacted with about 2 of them, who said that the first time they ever heard anything about blockchain technology or cryptocurrencies was because somebody told them about tokenization. So you can see the power that tokenization brings, creates more awareness. And so people can begin to take interest in learning about blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, tokens, and all that. So people will now own more of digital assets, and they can even decide to convert their physical assets into digital assets, because it's not just for women who are participating. There are also women who have assets, and they can actually convert them to digital assets. So this will unlock new investment opportunities. Women will no longer be stuck with just traditional investment. The opportunity to take advantage of different investments within the blockchain and tokenization space will also be there. And of course, this will bring about liquidity of assets that are previously illiquid. So when you hear the word illiquid, it means assets that are not easily disposable. That is, you want to sell them, but you don't sell them easily, or you don't sell them at the time you want to sell them, or you sell them, but you sell them at loss, right? Because sometimes you do not have buyers readily available. So there are a lot of assets like that, like real estate, for instance, natural resources, intellectual property, some rare metals, arts and collectibles. These are very rare art. So sometimes when you bring them to the marketplace, it's not always easy to sell them, right? So this will bring a situation where those illiquid assets will now become liquid. Why? Because now you are transferring them to the blockchain. Their ownership is now being converted to digital shares. So anyone who holds digital shares of such assets can easily sell them off, right? So entry and exit becomes seamless. Their ownership have been converted into digital shares. So this is a huge opportunity for women, more women to be part of what is happening. So this is what is going to be happening in the coming years and decades, where illiquid assets will become more liquid, which will offer more women the opportunity to take advantage of these illiquid assets. And of course, it would decentralize the way people have access to financial markets. So women are not just stuck to the traditional ways of investing in stocks and bonds and things like that. Opportunity to invest in different asset classes will now be available. So this is what we see happening in the coming years and decades. Of course, we've been talking about tokenization for the past 2 years. It's been one of the hottest topics in the space. And as at 2021, tokenization market, as it were, valuation was about 2 trillion. According to BCG, they project that by 2030, tokenization market would have been up to 16 trillion. And 2030 is about 6 years or so, a little more than that. So the question is, what are you going to be doing with all this information? How are you positioning yourself, right? So this is the time to be forward thinking. This is the time to be forward looking and to begin to position ourselves to begin to take advantage. Because I tell you what, there's enormous value coming here, not to even mention the projection by World Economic Forum, where they said that the current assets that we have presently, now by assets we mean both tangible and intangible assets, are worth over $800 trillion. And that by 2027, about 24 trillion of that value would have been brought onto the blockchain. The question is, how are you positioning yourself to take advantage? So these are the future trends that we're looking at, the future happenings, future opportunities that we are looking at. And so we're happy here at Big Queens sharing all that information with you so that you can participate. So the next will be rise of central bank digital currencies. So in case you're hearing this, it's called the CBDC for short. So CBDCs are fiat currencies by central banks of the world that are now being converted to digital currencies, right? So think of your own local currency where you stay, maybe if you're in the UK or here in Nigeria, for instance. You hear of e-Naira, right? So what that does is that banks or central banks or governments of different countries are beginning to think forward by saying, instead of having paper money, why don't we create the digital equivalent of our currency? That is in a way that is controlled, not like the way banks can wake up and begin to print endless paper money as it were. So this is a revolution that's happening with different central banks or reserve banks across the globe. In fact, China is at the forefront, has been at the forefront of this CBDC revolution. I think sometime in 2021, Nigerian government also, that's the Central Bank of Nigeria, launched their own CBDC. It's called e-Naira. And so what it's targeting is to cut down the cost of managing fiat currencies by converting the current paper money to digital money. It's still the Naira that we use, or in the case of Chinese currency, the yuan. But the thing is that you will no longer have a situation where people exchange value with paper money again. So it's going to be a situation where people can now just transfer value as it were. You make a purchase, you scan a QR code, and you pay for whatever you have purchased. So why is this important? Why are we talking about this when it comes to tokenization? That's because it's going to be a bridge between the traditional world and the digital world. One of the challenges that women face, especially in some parts of Africa, is the challenge of converting their local currencies into digital currencies, right? So you have Naira, for instance. I'm using local example because that's what experience I've had. So you have Naira, you're finding it difficult to convert your Naira to, say, USDT. Before you can now send it to exchanges where you can buy Bitcoin, for instance, or even participate in any project here. So the idea behind the CBDCs is the fact that it's also using blockchain technology. The idea behind the blockchain technology is what these CBDCs are using. So it's not just going to be printing of papers as usual. So because that is a bridge, it allows people to transfer their value, right, their funds or their money as it were, easily and quickly into digital assets or cryptocurrencies. So this is what we're going to see, because countries, governments are understanding the enormous power within the tokenization space. They're also understanding the enormous power that blockchain has to revolutionize the financial landscape. And so they are not leaving any stones unturned. They want to be part of the, the game. Remember, blockchain technology is not controlled by anyone. Cryptocurrencies are not controlled by anyone. So they do not want to lose power completely, because when the people transition fully into using cryptocurrencies, what do you think will happen? The regular fiat currencies will make little or no sense. And so the central banks of different countries are waking up to say, instead of fight this technology, why don't we understand it and see how we can play a part in it? And so that is going to be one of the things that is going to be really evolving, so that it makes it easy for people to move their funds into the crypto space and back into the traditional space. Because at the end of the day, when you make profits in the crypto space or in blockchain space or in the tokenization space, you will also have need at some point to convert your tokens to your local fiat currency so that you can use them for the things you want to use them for. So this bridge is such a fantastic one, and is going to bring a seamless experience for those who are entering into the space, right? So it's going to form a bridge, like I said, between the traditional currencies and the fiat currencies. And it's also going to enable cross-border payments, remittances, digital identity verification, because that way people are able to identify themselves digitally, especially for women who are unable to identify themselves or have IDs. In our different countries, there's a government institution that takes charge of identity. So you have to go, you're captured, your biometrics are taken as a way of identifying you. But do you know that there are women who are in certain areas in Africa and in different parts of the world where they do not have access to means of identification? And for that reason, they are not even playing in the economic activities of their communities. And so how do they participate? How do they do business? How do they, interact with other women across the globe? Blockchain technology, tokenization offers the opportunity for women to do so, because with just their smartphone and connection to the internet and access to CBDCs, remember, this is more like cryptocurrency. You don't need an ID. You just need to download an app, or maybe an application that enables this work, and you are participating. And so that will take off the barrier that women face when it comes to participating in cryptocurrencies, participating in the blockchain space and tokenization, thereby giving them the opportunity to identify themselves digitally. So they don't need physical identity to be able to do that, right? So this is an enormous opportunity for women to prepare themselves for what's ahead and also participate. Now let's look at the next one. This will also give rise to maturation of decentralized finance. So decentralized finance is the new way of participating in financial services without the interference of any third party. We've had conversations in the past here about decentralized finance, how it differs from traditional finance or centralized finance, if you will. And if you missed that conversation, again, I encourage you to go to our YouTube channel. We have sessions that we covered that will explain these things in details for you. But just so you know, decentralized finance will keep maturing, it will keep evolving, because think of all the financial activities that happen within the traditional financial space. Think of lending, think of borrowing, staking, what we call fixed depositing, and things like that. It will be much possible here within the ecosystem. And so those who are participating in tokenization, who have gotten tokens, either because they went to the market to buy tokens representing real world assets, or because they were part of a tokenization project that allowed them to mint it, they are able to hold their tokens, which represent their participation, and then they can even lend it. So they can now go into the decentralized finance space to provide lending services, right? They can also stake, because instead of allowing those tokens lie idle in your wallets, right, while still waiting for the project that is being backed by these tokens to really take off and the value to increase, you can actually stake them, because staking is also one of the mechanisms that these tokenization projects use to sustain their project, and of course create time for this project to expand and increase in value. So staking creates some kind of scarcity within the system. And so once you have scarcity in terms of supply of tokens and the demand keeps increasing, then you can expect the value of that asset or token to increase in value with time. So just because tokenization is happening, you see how it's going to further expand the DeFi space. It will empower people to tokenize their assets and participate in the decentralized finance ecosystem. There's a lot that can happen within this space, but we're looking at how tokenization will help expand other areas of blockchain industry. So I hope you're having fun. Please, if you're getting value, let's go to the comments and leave some feedback for me. If you're getting value, please share your thoughts, whatever comes to your mind. If there are areas you also want us to point out, please feel free to share them in the chats. Yes, this is such a fantastic conversation, and I'm happy because this offers us the opportunity to learn more, go deeper, and position better, right? So let's look at the next one, is expansion of NFTs. Now, if you're just hearing NFTs for the first time, NFTs is just short for what we call non-fungible tokens. That is, tokens that represent real assets that are not divisible. That's why it's called non-fungible. As against tokenization of assets, tokenization of assets mean that a particular asset can be divisible. That's why it's called tokenization, because it's broken down into tokens that represent ownership of that asset. But for non-fungible tokens, that's NFTs, that asset is not divisible, right? The ownership is not divisible. And so when we talk about bringing real-world assets into the digital space, NFT can be one way to do that. Why? Because even real estate can be tokenized. When we talk about tokenization, for those who have really understood this a bit, the idea that they paint or the image they paint in their mind will be NFTs of arts, maybe a rare painting like the Mona Lisa painting, or gaming items, or collectibles, like tickets that people may have used to enter very pronounced, or maybe very how do I put it now? Maybe games that made name in the past, or collectibles could be even a shirt of a super star or a football superstar, something like that. So items that are rare that you've collected in the past, people bring them now onto the blockchain space as non-fungible tokens, meaning that you can sell them at the NFT marketplace for a particular amount, and then the ownership of that item is transferred to the person who has purchased it from you. So now we're looking at a situation where NFTs will no longer be restricted to just arts, collectibles, gaming items and things like that. How about a full real estate, a full asset apartment, for instance, being an NFT. So if an apartment is an NFT, it means it's just one token. The token cannot be split. It's not a situation where everybody will now own it or opportunity for multiple people to own that particular apartment. Speaking of real estate. Now, it offers the opportunity for even more participation because at that point in time, these tokens can be held. It's one way to preserve the value of real estate. The idea that people usually have is the fact that, oh, real estate is ever increasing. Yes, real estate is ever increasing, but also there are times that real estate also lose value. Of course, the challenge of also selling them in good time. That's why we say real estate is illiquid. So bringing them into the digital space with the use of NFTs can also make them become liquid, meaning that it's now easy to sell them because you're not looking for, but the marketplace exists already. So when you go there, you can sell the NFT representing the apartment or building or whatever, and you can, receive value for, selling your NFT that represents a full real estate asset. So it's an interesting area, I must tell you. About a few weeks ago, I was part of a conversation of tokenizing real-world assets. And we're having a brainstorming session on how the shape and manner this project will take. It's a real estate project somewhere in Canada. And so we were now beginning to explore whether we should go the tokenization route, purely tokenization, or just purely NFT route, or a combination of both. And it will be interesting to tell you that what we came out with in that brainstorming session is a situation where even both can happen, right? So there is a lot that is happening within this space. And I'm so happy that I am participating at least in these tokenization projects and learning how they work behind the scenes so that you can begin to fully appreciate the power that tokenization has. And trust us here at Bitcoins to bring you all that information, all the insight, knowledge that you need to understand what's happening and also take advantage. So there's a lot happening here. And this is one I'm so excited about because I tell you what, even before now, my own personal understanding about NFTs were more of arts, music, gaming, and all that. But I've come to realize that NFTs are not restricted to those collectibles and items. You can even take them further into ownership of real assets, right? Like real estate, like aircrafts, like all sorts of things. So it's a very huge one. And I believe that in the coming years and decades, that this particular space, that's the NFT space, would have fully expanded and would have fully seen and taken advantage of all the opportunities emanating from this space. Of course, new markets will open up. Content creators, developers will also be able to get value for the value that they are creating. Now, the last one we're going to be looking at before we wrap it up for today, because I tell you what, I said this is going to be in parts because it's such a huge trend and the emergence of tokenization is going to disrupt the world in a way we've never seen before. And so we thought it wise at the Bitcoins team to break this into series of parts so that we fully grasp all the value that this subject matter comes with. So the last we're going to be looking at today is integration of AI with blockchain. This is super massive, if you ask me, ladies. This is super massive because a lot is already happening as we speak. Imagine AI with blockchain. Now we know the features of blockchain, decentralization that it brings, transparency that it brings, security that it brings, the opportunity for people to actually verify information, traceability, and all that. And then you bring AI. We've been talking about AI. In fact, last year, it was such a huge one. Everybody was talking about AI, ChatGPT, and all sorts. So it's an interesting thing happening within the digital space. AI is short for artificial intelligence. So at this point in time, AI has the capacity to enhance the functionality and intelligence of everything that's going to be happening within the tokenization space. By doing what? By analyzing data. It can analyze. Remember, AI is more like a machine that's been fed past information, everything from different areas, whether in health, in technology, in education, all kinds of subject matter. So you have a machine that is trained with vast knowledge and so can read trends, can analyze data, can project what a thing can eventually be. And so that's a powerful tool because it takes it a notch higher. It, in a way, aids human intelligence. Because when we talk about AI, people say, oh, AI is disruptive, it's not good for humans, it's going to take jobs away from humans and all that. If you have such mindset, well, from my own personal opinion, I want you to reconsider, because for those of us who are using AI tools like ChatGPT and these other AI tools, you have to be really very good with prompting before you can even get the results that you're looking for. So I believe that AI will enhance human intelligence. I believe that AI will make life better. The only people that will feel that AI will take over their jobs are those who are not keeping up with the trends, right? AI will not replace you. It is those who are using AI that will replace you. And so this is not the time for us to be on the sidelines about AI and all that. This is the time to really begin to understand how this works and how that can make life easy for us in our professions and our careers and whatever we do. So imagine feeding an AI bot with the origin of blockchain, about trading, about trends, about market movements and things like that. It will eventually enhance the functionality and intelligence of tokenization platforms. And so it's able to identify patterns, it's able to identify trends, is even able to see areas that are having issues and even suggest ways to correct them. So this is super, super amazing. And of course, it can even give you risk management strategy, project investment decisions that you can make and benefit from that. Like I said, AI is still evolving, right? It's not all perfect. And so you want to also pay attention to that and ensure that you're using it with care and you're understanding the tools that you're using. Of course, it will also enable the building of good smart contract, that is smart contracts that are foolproof. I tell you what, there are bad actors within this space, right? There are people who are always looking for loopholes, weaknesses in codes and smart contracts so that they can take people's funds. So one of the major improvements that AI will bring to blockchain is the fact that there will be better smart contracts coded, because with AI, you can identify anywhere there are loopholes or any malfunction or anomalies within the code. So I'm so super excited about this particular point, because then we'll build better platforms, better smart contracts, better execution, better automation, better tokenization models or business models, simply because AI is providing that data, is analyzing all things and providing better ways of doing things, right? So, of course, with the use of AI-powered bots, you can execute trades. Crypto trading is one opportunity within the blockchain space. So trading is a skill you have to have before you go into it. Trading simply means buying and selling of cryptocurrencies. But the challenge most people have is to know what cryptocurrencies to buy and at what time to sell them. And those who are even actively trading, when should I buy, when should I sell? What cryptocurrencies do I buy and which should I sell? Which will give me good return on investment, which one will not. So these are the challenges that crypto traders grapple with. Now imagine an AI-powered bot making the trades for you. As we speak, we have a particular AI-powered business that is called Quantwise. So Quantwise trades for you. So in case you are interested in learning how to trade, but you don't have all the time, or you want AI-aided trade, then I suggest you check out Quantwise. There are a number of other trading bots out there that are using AI, that is AI-powered, meaning that you get it right most of the times. I'm not saying that these AI tools get it right all the time, but you will get it right most times. So we are seeing a future where trading with AI becomes more prominent. So it's not going to be just based on guesswork anymore, or trying to learn how to trade or by watching YouTube videos and all that. Yes, we still appreciate human intelligence. Personally, I trade, and of course, I know a number of other women who trade, and of course, in fact, men also who trade, and they put in their time, their efforts to learn these skills. This is not to make light of those skills, but to tell you how much easier it can become playing in the blockchain space. And that's because AI is powering this type of innovation within the tokenization space. right? So with that, we come to the end of the first part of the trends and innovations that we expect to happen within the tokenization space in the coming years and decades. So congratulations for staying up till now. We looked at the current state of tokenization and we explored the trends and innovations within the tokenization space. So if you're yet to join our community and you're enjoying the conversation, what are you waiting for? Please feel free to leave us a message if you're watching on YouTube or any other social media platform. We would like to bring you in. Just leave us a message and we will give you information on how to be part of our community. Or you can even write us at bitcoinshq@gmail.com so that you get all the information you need to be part of our community. Yes, we are still looking to expand our community and expand the Bitcoin team. So if you or any woman you know has skills in community management, video editing, graphics designs, in social media management, then please feel free to write us at bitcoinshq@gmail.com and we will give you all the information that you need to be part of the community. I tell you what, creating awareness in the blockchain space for women is a collective effort. And if you are interested in joining the team, in raising awareness, in creating a community that is confident and safe for other women to be part of, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll be glad to bring you in. Yes, and if you're yet to follow us on our social media platforms, please follow, subscribe where you need to, like our YouTube channel, then turn on the notifications so that you get to learn when we drop content or share posts or share insights, knowledge and tools such as this. You know what that does? The more followers or subscribers we have on our channels, and the more people comment, engage with our content, it helps to create more awareness. The social media algorithm shows the content to more people, and by that, more women, and we can have more people join the conversation and, of course, join our community. So thank you, ladies. It was my pleasure bringing this, and it's time now to get your feedback on all that we've been discussing this evening. So I'm going right to the comments to see what you have. This is the time you want to send in your questions. You want to send in your experience in case you're already participating in any of these tokenization projects. And you're also optimistic, as I am, about the future of tokenization. This is the time to share all that excitement with us. So thank you, Angela, for your feedback. She said, thank you, getting value. Ruka says, one very interesting thing about the blockchain is that you can get your money out just immediately. Exactly. Yes. The ease at which you can convert your digital assets into fiat currencies is really enormous. As against if you had a real estate, physical asset and you wanted to sell it, it will take a lot of time because you need to make all the right arrangements. You have to have, the paperwork completed. You have to get the buyers who are willing to pay a fair price for what you're about to sell. So that's a very great point. Ruka, thank you for your contribution. And I'm happy you are gaining a lot in these sessions. Right, thank you. Carol says your enthusiasm for this is infectious, Christy. Thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you. Yes, tokenization, blockchain technology is disrupting the way the world works. I tell you what, I'm always very fascinated about blockchain technology. Each time I approach the subject, whatever it is that we're discussing, there's this excitement, there's this fascination. I mean, I just feel like there is so much to learn, and I'm always happy to be here to share from my knowledge. And of course, I know that you all are getting value for the time that you also put in joining these sessions. And of course, thank you, Carol. You're always here supporting the community, sharing with us your experience. It's such a wonderful thing to have you. Thank you so much. So are there any questions? Angela says, well done, Christy. Your knowledge of this space is outstanding. Thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate. Madam Gwemi says, wow, wow, wow. Tightly packed session and new information, knowledge shared. Thank you so much, Madam. We're happy you feel this way. Thank you, Coach Oge. She says, thank you, Coach Christy. Yes, thank you so much for your kind words. So are there any questions? I'm still going through to see if there are messages here. Carol says, awesome training as usual. Thank you so much for your kind words. Yes, and in our coming session, we're going to be looking at the second part of trends. We're going to be looking at how tokenization will be disrupting metaverse. Have you heard of metaverse before? We're also going to be looking at how it's going to empower blockchains so that we have more interoperable blockchains. We're also going to be looking at how that is going to enhance regulations within the space, because regulation is one important topic that we would not fail to talk about each time we talk about projects or different areas or aspects within the blockchain space. We're also going to talk about how it's going to disrupt the way businesses also bring their assets onto the blockchain. There's a lot to talk about, ladies. And I hope you join us next Sunday because it's going to be very value-packed next Sunday. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your time with us here at Big Queens. Laura says, this is super amazing. It was wow. I would love to hear this message again. Oh, that's amazing. This is already being recorded, so you can view it again at your own free time. So please feel free to leave us your comments, your thoughts when you go to watch this on YouTube. We usually upload these full sessions on YouTube, although you may find bits and pieces of it on different platforms, but full sessions are always uploaded on our YouTube channel. So when you go there, feel free to leave us your thoughts, your comments, your questions, whatever they may be. Even in the community, we'd love to receive all those feedback. That will help us do better in our next training session. So thank you, everyone. And in the absence of questions, and would like to call it a wrap. Except anyone wants to say a thing or two, maybe share an experience or say hi. You don't have to say anything about what we've learned. You can just unmute yourself and say hello. It's fine. It has to be inclusive. It has to be interactive, and that's what we're aiming at.
Yeah.
Oh, Carol, it's good to see you.
So what was I going to say? In terms of metaverse, I'm already involved in the metaverse. Thank you. So I'm looking forward to next week. Oh, actually, we're entertaining next Sunday after church, so I'm going to have to miss it. However, I will catch up on the recording. Now, the blockchain space is fascinating, and I do have just some odd square inches of real estate in Dubai. That's, when I say, I think it's like 150 something square inches, which isn't a lot, but we could have bought by square inches. You could have bought a whole floor of this hotel. So yes, just dibbling and seeing and getting the odd dividend. I haven't sold them, I've kept them. But it is an exciting space, and Bitcoin halving, some of the tokens have gone up.
Wow.
And I knew they would have. I don't own Bitcoin, but some of the other tokens have gone up as a result of this thing that was happening, that has happened. So, but you mentioned something very key, knowing when to sell. And that is such a difficult thing to do.
Right.
Yeah. But thank you for always showing up, even on your birthday. I can't forget that. Always showing up for the benefit of the community. I really appreciate you, Christy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you for contributing. So you can see we're not just talking, these things are already happening. Carol just shared, her participation in tokenization of a real world asset, and it's real estate in Dubai. So it's such a fascinating thing. And I'm happy for, what's unfolding and what's happening in this space. Yes, we had the Bitcoin halving. I thought I was going to remember. In fact, it was the first thing I'd wanted to share before we, start, but I totally forgot. Yes, so if you're not aware, the Bitcoin halving event happened yesterday. And so if you're just learning about it, Bitcoin halving is an event that happens approximately every 4 years. when the rewards that Bitcoin miners receive gets cut in half, right? So it's part of how Bitcoin was coded or how it was designed by the creator or creators of Bitcoin, that is Satoshi Nakamoto. So the idea is to create a kind of currency, a digital currency that becomes scarcer and scarcer with time, right? Just mimicking the way precious metals like gold is created, right? Or is mined, as it were. So this happens every 4 years. So there is a reward that miners get. Who are the miners? These are people who validate transactions on the blockchain network, in this case for the Bitcoin network. They are those that provide decentralization, keep the networks secure. So because of all this value that they provide, and these miners, they don't just do it by sitting idle. They have big computers, that are doing these mining activities that provide decentralization, that provide security. So they consume enormous amount of electricity to be able to do that. They put in their time, they have huge mining farms across the globe. And so what better way to incentivize them to continuously keep the integrity of the system? Because if you have someone work for you and you don't incentivize them, there's a likelihood that they're going to change the goalpost. And so that incentive they get is what keeps them going, is what helps them maintain the integrity. They themselves cannot change anything or manipulate any information or data, because it's not just them. You have millions of them. And the truth is that if I'm a miner and you are a miner, we may not even know that both of us are mining. So it brings so much decentralization into the system. And so for every 10 minutes, a new block is added. In case you're wondering what a block is just like a collection of different transactions that go onto the Bitcoin network almost every second. And so what happens is that these transactions are packaged together in a block. And once those transactions within that block are verified, it gets added to the previous blocks that have been created in the past, from the inception when the first transaction ever happened on the Bitcoin network. So you have blocks of transactions in form of chains on the Bitcoin network. So each 10 minutes, that's the approximate time it takes to create a new block. So for every miner that successfully creates a new block is rewarded with a certain amount of Bitcoins. From the inception, that is 2009, miners were receiving 50 Bitcoins every 10 minutes for every successfully created block that is added to other blocks. So the first halving happened 2012. So by the first halving, the rewards that the miners received got cut in half. So instead of receiving 50 Bitcoins, they started receiving 25. Then came the second halving, which happened around 2016. The 25 Bitcoins were now cut into 12.5 Bitcoins. So every 10 minutes from 2016 till about 2020, miners were receiving 12.5 Bitcoins. Now, by 2020, another halving event happened, and that 12.5 got cut in half again to 6.25. So miners started receiving 6.25 Bitcoin. Now we're in 2024, and the event happened yesterday, a little more than 1 a.m. UTC, right? That should be around 2 a.m. West African time. And so from this new one now, miners now receive 3.125. So you see how that gets cut in half. So what's the implication for the Bitcoin community, for the entire blockchain community, in fact, for the entire crypto community? It shows that the scarcer an asset is, the more valuable it becomes. Just like gold, as the years pass by, it becomes more difficult to mine gold. That same idea is what we have in blockchain. So that's one of the implications. And so when a Bitcoin halving happens, it means that the coins that are getting into the market or into the system also reduce, right? So, and because of the scarcer quantity of Bitcoins entering into the market, the value jumps. And this event also triggers what we call the bull run. That is a time when we have sustained increase in the price of Bitcoin for a period of time. And guess what? This also affects other cryptocurrencies. You know, they are called altcoins. All other coins that are not Bitcoin are called altcoins. So you begin to see sustained increase in price. That's when investors, traders, you know, are having exciting times, and people who have been holding on to some tokens or some projects for some time, it does, you know, transfer. That effect is felt across the entire crypto space and crypto community. So it's also important because this shows that Bitcoin is maturing, and that will also attract the attention of traditional investors, people who are more into traditional investments, and even companies like BlackRock, like all these big corporations. They are becoming more interested. So it shows that this is an asset that people can trust, and it has potentials to hold value, to become a store of value. Because think of our fiat currencies. Our governments can print them endlessly, and they continue to lose value. But you have a situation where an asset continuously sustain value, become a store of value, and even increase in value. So it's such a huge thing that happens within the blockchain space. It's monumental, it's exciting, it provides us the opportunity to learn more, to believe more, for mass adoption. And so it's one of those things that we hope that women in our community understand, get deeper insights on, and of course, continuously learn and adapt as the space continuously evolves. So thank you, Carol, for raising that up. I nearly forgot, but it was an exciting celebration. I was happy. I was reading up, you know, excited about it and all that. And I'm happy we shared that information with us in our community. So thank you, everyone, for being here. It's always exciting. You can see, as if the session should not end, but everything that has a beginning definitely has an end. I'll be back again next Sunday for an insightful, empowering, and educative session. So thank you, ladies, for being here. We'll be back again next Sunday, 8 p.m. West African time, 7 p.m. GMT, and you can cross-check that with your own time zone to make sure that you are here in good time. Thank you, everyone, and see you next Sunday. Let's continue the conversation in our community. Bye.